Alright, Tropical Depression 2 has formed and it is expected to affect the Lesser Antilles, more so the Windward Islands, as a Category 2 hurricane. Hi everyone, I am Dani'i and welcome to this afternoon update. We're going to be looking at Tropical Depression 2, which has formed this afternoon. So we've got some updates from the National Hurricane Center, and it is going to head into the Caribbean as a hurricane, and other places down the road such as Jamaica should definitely be keeping watch for impacts, as the cone forecast shows that the system could actually make landfall or move very close to the island as a hurricane. However, let's first talk about the Windward Islands. So this is what the satellite imagery is looking like for the area. Now there is a tropical wave ahead of the depression, and hence we see all this afternoon shower and thunderstorm activity kicking up. So in parts of Trinidad, Tobago, maybe even Grenada, some overcast weather along with some showers and thunderstorms. So that's been happening. Similar thing across parts of Venezuela and the Guyanas as well, more so for Guyana and northern Suriname. But as we look into the Western Caribbean here, we can see that other disturbance 94L still given that low chance of development, but it is a rainfall maker, and so with all this heavy rain around, there could definitely be some instances of flooding in parts of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and Central America. Lots of activity popping up. But elsewhere across the region, aside from a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, nothing much is really happening. Let's head back to our tropical depression. So we're going to be taking a look at the conditions out there, and then we'll be going on to what the National Hurricane Center is expecting. First, we have the sea surface temperatures very, very warm, very supportive of development. So we can see 28, 29 degrees Celsius within the vicinity of the Caribbean islands. Some spots are cooler, some a little warmer, probably up to 30 degrees. But overall, the temperatures are well favorable to allow intensification. But we know that that's not the only factor. Let's take a look at a couple of others ahead of Depression 2, which will become Tropical Storm Beryl, by the way. Now, here we're looking at the wind shear forecast. Now, as we take a look at this and we see more of those shades of oranges and reds, that is indicating stronger wind shear. That usually helps to keep those developing tropical storms and hurricanes on the weaker side. But as we see more of the yellows, the greens, the blues, and especially the white areas, that is a sign of a more favorable environment for intensification of our systems. Look at this. Ahead of the system is going to be moving generally to the west, and so the wind shear is expected to be conducive to allow strengthening. And then we're looking at the dry air map. So a lot of dry air is represented by those more vibrant shades of oranges, reds, and even those pinks. Look ahead of it. We don't see much of that either. So overall, the environment ahead is very much conducive to allow for some pretty decent strengthening of the system. Let's head on to what the National Hurricane Center has. This is the cone forecast. And so here we can see the location of the system right now. And the S indicates tropical storm, H indicates hurricane. And if we should see an M, it would indicate a major hurricane, which is basically Cat.2 or higher. Now we can see that as we're going to be heading into the early part of the new week, by Monday, the system will be approaching the Lesser Antilles as a hurricane, and the maximum intensity that the National Hurricane Center is expecting for now is winds up to 105 miles per hour. Now, I do want to point out that in many cases, the National Hurricane Center is usually a bit conservative with the first advisories, the initial advisories given for the system. So I would not be surprised if it should make a run for major hurricane status. But as of now, the National Hurricane Center is expecting peak winds of 105 miles per hour. So the system is going to be making its way toward the Lesser Antilles as we're going to be heading into Monday. And then it's going to be taken on more of a northwestward or west-northwest track as we head into Tuesday. And by Wednesday of next week, we see that the system is expected to be approaching Jamaica still as a hurricane. So, as I said, us in Jamaica have to definitely keep an eye on this as it makes its way in. So this is for next Wednesday. But as it pertains to the rainfall totals expected over the course of the coming days by Depression 2 across the Lesser Antilles, we can see that for Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, parts of the Southern Grenadines, St. Lucia, Martinique, even up to Dominica and Guadeloupe, there could be maximum rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches or 50 to 100 millimeters of rain. But then for areas such as St. Vincent, the Northern Grenadines, and Barbados, rainfall amounts could be up to 6 inches or 150 millimeters as we're going to be heading into the next couple of days once the system is going to be approaching. So that can result in life-threatening flooding across some areas, especially those more vulnerable places. So guys, please prepare for this. It's likely to be a hurricane once it is going to be approaching. And that's not the only thing to expect. There's going to be those strong winds, which will be capable of causing damage down trees, posts as well, power lines, down power lines, and even to some homes. Though that's going to be a problem with the winds as well, and some of the wind gusts could be even stronger than if the system should be making its way toward the area as a 105-mile-per-hour hurricane. So wind gusts could definitely do a lot more damage. And also there is going to be the storm surge, the inundation of the coast due to the winds of the system pushing the water on shore. So that is what is to expect as we're going to be heading into Monday, and conditions will likely start deteriorating by Sunday. And I also want to point out, I showed you guys at the start of the video that there is a tropical wave which is making its way toward the area. That is going to result in the soil being saturated, so that plus what is expected to be a hurricane, the rainfall associated with what will be beryl, is just not the scenario that we would want. But it does not end there, because there is that next tropical wave marked with a 30% chance to develop. So the chance has increased, and it could take on a similar path to that of our current tropical depression. And so as it pertains to the models here, we can see them. Most are expecting it to become a hurricane, and we see a decent amount expecting a major hurricane from tropical depression 2. And then for the tracks, we can see that they're all locked in with that generally westward track, and then that west-northwest track, most of them keeping the system within the vicinity of Jamaica as we head to the middle of next week. So as I said, Jamaica, be on watch. I'll keep you posted though. So that is what I wanted to share with you in this update. And by the way, we should see some watches, maybe some tropical storm and hurricane watches being issued by later tonight into tomorrow. Those will be inevitable. They're going to happen. So guys, this is not something to be taken lightly, and it is definitely going to be a life-threatening situation. So please spread the word, and I will be keeping you posted as time goes by. So that's it for now, and I hope you found this update to be informative. However, if you have any questions, do feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you when I can, and remember to always do otherwise.